My name is Srinivas Sadi. I'm like a son of Ms. Lakshmi and Ms. Bhaskar. I hail from Kakinada, a remote coastal town in Andhra Pradesh. I've done my graduation in mechanical engineering. Post-graduation, I have freelanced as a digital marketing analyst for 3 years. In 2017, I moved to Delhi to prepare for civil service exam full-time. And it has been, that decision to move to Delhi has left a great impact on me.
Positive or negative?
I think it has improved me significantly as a person as a whole.
Has it done any damage also to you?
I have tried to.
You are hesitating to tell, please be frank.
No, sir. It has.
Delhi is not all that good.
Yes, sir. Even from the negatives, I try to be resilient. The number one being the successive failures that I had with the mains examination. I've given 6 mains and I failed to clear the mains in all my attempts except this one. This is the first time I'm going to interview. So that has taken a toll on my mental health, and that is when I realized the importance of social support that a student needs, especially in a grueling exam like this. So I believe that I've come resilient from this process. It's a mix of.
So the lack of social support happened due to staying in Delhi. Is it
Yes,
so?
sir. Yes, sir. Right from my birth, I was raised. I did my graduation, everything in Kakinada only, which is a very sleepy town, laid back, no livelihood struggles and all. The moment I went to Delhi 2017,
Too fast.
Yes, sir. It was like a cultural shock for me from a small town to a mega metropolis. And secondly, the flatmates that I've shared rooms with come from different states: Bihar, Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Karnataka, Rajasthan. So that has also given me a sense of how diverse a nation can be, and that has helped me build my tolerance levels and sensitivity to different foods and different cultures and different cuisines. And as mentioned already, the social support, the importance of social support, I think has been highlighted. And also the negatives being air pollution in Delhi. The first Diwali that I was there in Delhi 2017 was an eye-opener, because it was contrasting from how I celebrated Diwali in Kakinada versus how it was in Delhi. So it was a mixture of experiences, sir, and I believe I've come out resilient from that.
Is this your 4th attempt or 5th attempt?
7th attempt, sir.
7th?
Yes, sir.
Do you read about depression, anxiety in psychology?
Yes, sir.
Your option is psychology.
Yes.
So what is the difference between depression and anxiety?
Depression?
Difference between depression and anxiety?
Anxiety, mental disorder, anxiety disorders are generally characterized by by an apprehension and fear about future. Depression is more of a mood disorder, so it's not an anxiety disorder. It generally prohibits a person from doing anything stimulating. They sit alone in a corner, not engaging with any person, not doing any activity. Thereby it turns into a vicious cycle on its own, and they might in some cases lead to suicide.
What is bipolar?
Bipolar disorder is another mood disorder, sir. There are 2 types in it. The one being shifting from mania to depression. The type 2 being depression to hypomania, not the entire mania, but the spectrum lies from the depression to mania. Hypomania, sorry.
Okay.
Stress management.
Yes, sir.
Everybody is talking about it.
Yes.
Why? What is stress? What is so big about it? And what damage it causes to your psychology or physics, everything?
So stress is a negative mood state. When we realize that the demand of a situation, with the resources that we have, physical, mental or cognitive, if we think that we are unable to meet the demand of the situation, then stress arises. For instance, if I was waiting outside for my mock interview, so if I feel that, okay, I'm not prepared enough or I'm not resilient enough to handle the mock panel, I might feel stressed out. So that is the feeling that I might have. If I feel that it is any other conversation that I can have,
Or make a mockery of the panel. So,
so if I feel that no, I have adequate resources, if I feel that this is just another conversation that I can have with an esteemed panel, the result won't be a stress, rather I think it would be an excitement.
so what is important in that? Stress. What is important? That supposing something comes, the situation is there, you assessed, and there are 2 kinds of assessment. It is nothing, I will have to face the panel. Somebody, no, it is too tiring. is too intimidating. So what is that? What are you trying to say in that?
Uh, it is that stress at the end is an appraisal of the situation, sir. If
Who? Self.
Self
Yeah.
appraisal. So
Come
if-
to that.
Yes, sir. If I think that I can handle that situation, if I think I am well placed to handle a particular situation, the result won't be a stress. Instead, it would be a excitement or trying to face it. If I feel that my resources are not enough, be it physical, emotional, or cognitive, then I might feel stressed out. In a
Have you heard the name of Dr. Lazarus?
Yes, sir.
What has he done on this?
He is the one who came up with the theory of cognitive appraisal of stress. He said that the stress is not objective, it is subjective.
Yes.
Not everyone might perceive the situation as the same. So another aspirant who is waiting in the room might be facing the same panel, but he or she might perceive it as a stressful situation, and I might not perceive it as a stressful situation. So Lazarus has highlighted the cognitive aspect in the stress.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
What is primary appraisal and what is secondary appraisal?
Primary appraisal, Lazarus has come up with primary and secondary appraisal. Primary appraisal is the first initial judgment that we do in a situation. Is it threatening or is it okay? The secondary appraisal involves the calculation of my resources. Okay, do I have the necessary tools to handle that situation?
What could the tools be?
Number one being, if it is a problem, there are three methods that we can cope up with the stressor. It is a problem focused coping, where we handle the problem head on. Like for instance, I can prepare well for this interview, I can work on my personality, I can come confidently. The second being emotion focused coping, talking to a friend or talking to anyone, saying that having a social support. And third being building proactive resources, like doing meditation on every day or doing exercise every day. That will help you build adequate resources that we can utilize in future situations.
Good, good.
You are a technology man, no? You did, B.Tech.
Yes, sir.
How are you going to use technology for, improving the literacy?
In literacies.
Literacy.
Can I take a minute?
How? Please take.
So technology is like normal electronic technology.
You are a technical man.
Yes, sir.
You are a collector. Suppose you become a district collector of Kakinada or East Godavari district.
Yes,
You find that education levels are low. How are you going to put your knowledge into this area
Yes, sir.
and increase the literacy levels?
Yes, sir.
How do you increase?
Uh,
Can you use technology as a tool
Yes.
to increase the literacy levels of a district or a state?
Sir, as a district magistrate, I think the primary focus will be on the infrastructure. Sir, if we are trying to do something about technology, we have to ensure that the ground infrastructure is sufficient. If we are trying to address it through via internet, the basic minimum requirement that we have to do is we have to verify whether every village, every remote area is connected to a basic broadband internet. Even if if we are unable to provide it for every household, at least like a common service center or Gram Panchayat office, ensuring that rural infrastructure is working and the internet is working. And secondly, we can develop local cadres, girls or boys who are 10th standard passed out or 12th standard passed out. They can work as local leaders and they can mobilize the community on how to actually utilize the internet for literacy purposes. And thirdly, I think especially when it comes to technology, I think it depends on how we are enabling it in a local context. For instance, when we visit any website, they are generally either in Hindi or in English. So if I am the district magistrate in a state such as Andhra Pradesh, the concern should be that whether the resources are available in the local language, such as Telugu, which is generally very rarely happens. Websites are generally either Hindi or English. With the diversity that we have in our country, I think the language aspect should also be tackled.
Some days back, PM Modi talked of IAS visas, getting visas for those people who want to get treated with alternative therapies, IAS. What is your opinion? Are they really effective? Is there so much demand?
Yes, sir. I think there is.
What is IAS?
IAS is an abbreviation for Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy. So it is a collection of traditional therapeutic approaches that aims to provide an alternative for the regular Western or allopathic medicines. generally it is claimed that they have less scientific, so less side effects. So I think there is a demand, sir, even when the UN has recognized.
Maybe side effects are not there because they have not been researched, they don't follow the same process that allopathy does.
No, sir. Allopathy is scientifically more rigorous when we are launching any drug. But I think it should be left to the choice of the people if they feel that yoga helps them or Ayurveda helps them in tackling a particular disease or an illness. I think we can leave it to their choice, and I think India has a lot of potential to unleash that knowledge that we have, the traditional knowledge that we have, and we can improve on that. So Ayush research are, I think, a positive step.
For Ayurvedic medicine preparations, sometimes contradicts the modern concepts. Like Ayurvedic medicines, they generously used heavy metals. So the modern science says that they will damage your kidneys and other organs, vital organs. So should it not be, verified or scientifically proved that amount of heavy metal that is being used, quantity of heavy metal, there should some standardization must be there, and or totally it should be prohibited from use. Maybe prohibition of total prohibition of the use may be affecting the efficacy of the medicine. That could be possible. So what is your solution to that? Because Ayurvedic medicine is not standardized so far. Sometimes it does more damage than the good. Homeopathy, yes, homeopathy is not very harmful. Some people say it's not medicine at all. Some people say it's no medicine. I know a friend of mine says all the doses he gives, take in one go, nothing happens. So like that. So alternative methods of medicine in a country like ours is very much required, because allopathic treatment is not available to everybody, not accessible to everybody. So what should be done to solve this problem? Alternative sources of medicine.
Sir, the first thing being, I think we can try to, on the lines of Medical Council of India, the one or the drug regulators that we have for allopathy, I think the similar infrastructure can be created so as to test the efficacy of the traditional medicine.
There is a ministry for that, isn't it?
Yes, sir, there is a ministry.
What is that ministry known as?
Ministry of Ayush.
Ayush, yes.
Created in 2014.
Yes.
But I don't think there is a regulator as such in that field. So I think we can streamline and we can try to incentivize scientists or medical doctors to come up with peer-reviewed studies so as to study the efficacy of them better, and that would, in the long run, will benefit India because we are a global repository of that knowledge. And by burnishing the scientific efficacy of those medicines, I think we can stand to benefit a lot.
You read autobiographies, no? That's
Yes,
your
sir.
hobby.
Yes, sir.
Have you read Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography?
Not directly, sir, because it's all over my course material, Modern India.
So what do you learn from that book?
Directly means? Directly, indirectly means what?
I did not read the book directly. I did not take
Indirectly means?
Generally,
How
when
about
we,
it?
when we are reading Modern India, for example, if we are talking about service to people or national
That's not
identity.
autobiography. It doesn't say contribution of Mahatma Gandhi to freedom movement. It doesn't tell his father's name or mother's name.
No, sir. I did not
So
read
that means you have not read it?
No, sir.
Okay. Even general knowledge also? Is that Mahatma Gandhi's father's name, mother's name? Do you have an idea? No?
No, sir.
Achha.
Which autobiography have you read?
The recent one being by Mr. Parmeshwaran IAS, sir, Methods in the Madness.
Parmeshwaran Nair.
Yes, sir. He was the Secretary of Drinking Water and Sanitation for
Achha,
5
civil
years.
servant.
Yes, sir. He spearheaded the Swachh Bharat
Okay,
mission.
okay. Any scientist, any other artist, any other autobiographies you have read?
My favorite one is by Dr. Ishajja Jahalwalia.
Yes.
She was
Recently
an
the book was
economist.
published.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. That I have read. So that is my favorite autobiography till date.
What about Dr. Abdul Kalam?
Wings of Fire. No, sir.
You have not read?
No, sir.
I see. You should. That is one of the shining example of person come from very common strata of life has come up.
We asked very common autobiographies which you have not read. Mahatma Gandhi, Kalam. You'll get trapped, maybe.
Sir, The reason why I pick an autobiography is when, for instance, I picked Mr. Parmeshwaran is because Swachh Bharat, any program of Government of India, of any government or state government, generally run into cost overruns or they miss the deadlines and all. So when I heard that India did become ODF free on 2nd October 2019, as envisaged as the original timeline, I was intrigued by how actually they did it. I didn't know that the entire mission was spearheaded by only one civil servant at the helm. So I was curious on, okay, like what did he do it differently that this happened? And the reason why I picked Dr. Isha Judge ma'am's is that since I started my civil service interview, she had this column called Cities at Crossroads on Indian Express, where she used to write on urban infrastructure and waste management issues. She also chaired a high-level expert committee on urban infrastructure in 2011. So I read about her, the news being like she passed away recently in 2020 during the pandemic. So I felt personal because I grew up reading her columns and my knowledge base was substantiated by reading her columns every month on Indian Express. So that raised my interest and I was searching for whether she has written a book or something. So then I realized that she has actually written after being diagnosed of stage 4 cancer. I felt, okay, I should read it. So that is the reason why I picked it. So when I read autobiographies, I don't necessarily go with the popular ones because I keep hearing from Wings of Fire and My Experience with Truth by Gandhiji. I feel it's okay.
No, but people will tend to ask you this question.
Yes,
when you say autobiography, specifically mentioned,
Yes, sir.
they are very famous autobiographies.
Yes, sir.
And civil servants autobiography, I will just make a comment on this. Sorry for making that comment. You have heard about Kushwant Singh?
Yes, sir.
Who was he?
He's former minister,
No.
union minister.
Kushwant Singh was a very famous journalist, writer, journalist.
No, sir.
Achha. Isar Judge Avliya,
Yes, sir.
was she married or single?
She was married.
Married to?
Montek Singh Lalwani.
Who is Montek Singh Avliya?
He served as the deputy chairperson of Planning Commission. From
Economist?
Sorry, sir. Yes, sir. He is an economist. Yes.
Okay. See, Kushwant Singh is a very famous journalist. He lived up to 99 years and he has written, normally I don't like to read the autobiographies of civil servants because number one is they are very voluminous. They try to give unnecessary details about their life and which are not doesn't interest the public, glorify themselves, and while glorifying themselves they tell a lot of lies. Okay.
If there is a member like
Nobody will say that I was bad. Nobody will say. Very few, especially a civil servant will never say that I was bad. I was not good at these things. So, of course, it's quite unusual that you have. I have seen another friend of mine who says that he only reads the autobiographies of civil servants. So I gave him an autobiography of a very distinguished and different type of civil servant. He didn't like it. He said very few things he has mentioned about his official career. He has mentioned about his other interests, history, then literature and all those interests. That didn't really inform me. He should have mentioned about piles. He should have mentioned about roating, sea and bed. So this is a kind of attitude. But while mentioning autobiography, it is very dangerous. At times, that is a common question. Father of the nation and Jawaharlal Nehru's autobiography. I don't read in the full. You can get the even small abridged version, but be aware. Not knowing the Mahatma Gandhi's father's name and mother's name, which is in the schools they are taught. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. So obviously father's name was Karamchand Gandhi. Mother's name is Putli Bai.
Father of the nation. No?
Father of the nation. Jawaharlal Nehru's father's name, do you know? Who was he?
Motilal Nehru.
What was he?
He was a barrister and he also fought for.
He was not barrister, but he was a lawyer.
Yes,
Big
he was a
lawyer.
and he also contributed to the Indian independence movement.
Achha, okay. Sardar Patel, what was his profession?
He was also a lawyer, sir.
Lawyer?
Yes, sir.
I see.
He worked as a lawyer and he took up local cases in Ahmedabad before inspired by Gandhi and coming into the struggles.
You spoke about Swachh Bharat.
Sorry, sir?
Swachh Bharat.
Yes, sir.
Is it a successful mission or a failed mission?
I think it is a successful mission.
How can you see? Are you not seeing garbage, in each street and every nook and corner?
Yes, sir.
We are implementing Swachh Bharat for so many years.
Yes, sir.
How can you say it's successful?
Sir, Swachh Bharat is, I think, it is always an ideal. We can never reach like 100% of Swachh Bharat, 100% cleanliness. I think there is a drastic milestones that were achieved by creating household toilets and community toilets in both in urban and rural areas. I think it is the time to
Community toilets.
Yes.
Do you mean to say that is successful experiment or failed experiment?
At least it is successful, sir. But I think right now with the
What about your own area, coastal area?
Yes, sir.
What about coastal area? Main problem coastal area is non-availability of individual toilets. People use open space and public places for using out. How do you justify that successful?
We can't mention a scheme as a complete failure just because it is not yet 100% achieved it. I think we can always build on the work that has done in the first iteration. The 2.0 mission was launched so as to consolidate the gains that we have done in the last 5 years, and I think we are heading in the right direction.
What is vermicomposting?
Vermicomposting. I think it refers to the usage of earthworms and other living organisms to compost the household waste and dry leaves, so as to
Wet leaves or dry leaves?
water is also added.
Organic waste. It is organic waste.
And in order to create biomanure and biofertilizer.
Is it fertile?
Yes, sir.
Considered to be fertile?
Yes.
What is ODF plus? You mentioned ODF.
Yes, sir.
What is ODF plus?
ODF plus is a designation that measures whether a particular toilet is being used, if it is used, or if the open defecation is not available, not seen in the last sorry.
Like and subscribe Eagle Media Works.